This episode is sponsored by SimpliSafe. Today, I'll be installing a simple stone hearth in the cabin. And not a moment too soon, because the first snowfall of the season has already arrived. Winter's first appearance at the cabin, although beautiful, was short-lived, which was good news for me, as I needed several days of warmer weather for the mortar to cure once the stone has been laid. Real quick, I'd like to thank SimpliSafe for sponsoring this episode. Right now, you can save big on SimpliSafe home security with up to 40% off new system orders. So if you're thinking about protecting your home and family with home security, there is no better time than now. As for myself and my family, we've been using SimpliSafe for years, and it's a wonderful peace of mind. Especially while we're away, because we can use the cameras and sensors to check in and make sure that everything's alright. If anything happens, from a break-in to a leak in the basement, SimpliSafe's team of live professionals has you covered, and will make sure the proper authorities are called. The service costs less than $1 a day, which is less than half the price of traditional home security. Plus, there's no contracts, so you can start and stop at any time. The system is delivered straight to your door, and there's no need to schedule a service appointment because you can set it up yourself. It's just that easy. In fact, it only took me about 30 minutes to set up mine. I love SimpliSafe because it's effective and easy to use.
SimpliSafe on home.
There's no safe like SimpliSafe. Save up to 40% on your SimpliSafe security system during SimpliSafe's biggest sale of the year. Visit simplisafe.com/The Outsider to customize yours. For those who are wondering, I use Type S mortar mix for the hearth. I wet the stones and cement board to keep them from prematurely drying out the mortar, allowing plenty of time to level the stones in the mortar before it begins to harden. I began by placing the first 4 stones on the 4 corners and leveling them in relation to each other. Now the rest of the stone can be leveled between the 4 main ones. Although the hearth may look like a mess at the moment, all it needs is a good sponging to get rid of the excess mortar and clean up the seams. After leaving the mortar to cure for a week, I returned to apply the finishing touches. Well, the stone is down and it's had a week to cure. So today I'm going to get the wood stove back on the hearth and hooked up so that I can get a fire going once again. And although it hasn't been getting too cold outside just yet, it's been cool enough that I have been missing the fire. So I'm excited to get that all figured out today. But yeah, the stone is looking fantastic. Underneath, I've got some cement board just to create some stability underneath the stone and mortar. Because if I were to put this down just on top of the 2-inch poplar boards, those boards are going to expand and contract over the course of the year, and it could risk cracking the mortar of the hearth. So that's why I put the cement board down first to create that stability, and now I don't have to worry about anything shifting underneath. Anyway, I just got back from the doctor's, and he removed the final piece of metal from my arm, which is from the grinder accident that I had in this cabin, well, a year ago now. But when it happened, the wound was mostly up here within the crook of my arm. That's where most of the damage was done. And I had lots of pieces of metal that were peppered into the wound and peppered into my arm. So it took a long time for me to scrub all of that out. I used Epsom salts because soap and water just wasn't removing the pieces of metal. So it is as painful as it sounds to rub salt in the wound, but it was worth it because my arm was getting all infected and it needed to be taken care of. So I had to rub the salt in to get those pieces of metal out. But unfortunately, I couldn't remove the final piece of metal, which has been in my arm now for a year. So as you can see, I've got a single stitch. So it wasn't really that big of a deal. It wasn't causing any problems for me, but I figured it would be a good idea to have it removed anyway. And it was a good thing I did because although the piece of metal looked small in my arm, it was actually a fairly decent sized shard that was fired straight into my arm. And so what I was actually seeing was the very top of the shard. The doctor had to work for quite a while to cut it out because my arm had scarred over it quite a bit and had held that piece of metal in place. But I'm happy that it's gone now, and so if I ever need to take an MRI or a CAT scan, I don't have to worry about this piece of metal stuck in my arm. But anyway, enough about me. I want to get the stove back onto the hearth, hooked up, and a fire going, which I'm really excited for. That's it for now. Until next time, my friends, stay safe, be well, and God bless.